Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the eLove Show. I'm Dr. Carol, and thank you so much for joining us. And today we have a very special guest. His name is Lakshmi Thirumala. I hope I said that name right.
Yeah, you got it right.
Great. He is a professor at Drake University, and he does video production, and he is also from India. And first, I just want to welcome you to the show, Lakshmi. Thank you so
Oh,
much
thank you, thank you.
for being here. I really appreciate it.
Oh, anytime, anytime.
So, we are going to talk about arranged marriages because
Ooh.
Lakshmi is from India and he has an arranged marriage, and that is something that a lot of us Americans are not used to. So, first of all, before we get into that, though,
Don't do it.
I won't tell your wife that. Can you tell our audience just a little bit about yourself first, so we before we get started?
Hey, yeah, thank you, Carol, for inviting me to this podcast. My name is, like you said, my name is Lakshmi Thirumala. I'm a professor of digital media production at Drake University in West Des Moines, Iowa. I've had my majority of schooling and college in India before moving to America for further studies and getting my second master's degrees and a PhD in electronic media and communications. So I now currently teach classes that are focus on filmmaking, documentary filmmaking, web designing, foundational media design kind of classes.
Great. So how long have you been here in the United States?
So I moved to US in 2006. So what, it's been 15 years.
Wow.
Whew.
15 years.
And nothing to show for it.
So what made you want to come here? And was it or
so I was working in India as an entertainment specialist. So I was running camera and doing some editing on the side for a news channel with their entertainment program. So I used to cover movies and trailers and other things that are not news related. So I was doing that for a year and a half then, and suddenly I thought I should explore a little bit more, get out of the country if there is an opportunity, right? So I applied to I wrote GRE and got a decent enough score to get me into some universities in the US. So and it was just on a whim. I wasn't really planning or anything, right? So I wanted to throw a stone in the pond and see, what ruffles. So so I did that, and I got the score back, and I applied to a couple of universities even at the last minute too, because that I wasn't much of I didn't had enough interest, because my goal back then 15 years ago was to get into film industry, transition into film industry, and work my way up, right? And then I heard back from one of the universities, Texas Tech University, and they gave me a free ride to school to the master's program. So I was like, you know what? Hey, I don't have to spend anything. They are paying me to go to school, and I thought, why not? So I hopped on the plane and came over.
Wow, that's very brave. Did you have a girlfriend when you met, or when you left, or?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Did you have a girlfriend when you left, or were you single?
Oh no, I had a girlfriend.
Oh, she probably wasn't real happy about
I
that.
had a girlfriend that I left when I left. So,
oh.
I mean, it was one of those things. I was like 24 or 24, and she was about 22 or 23, and we were together for a few months, almost a year, but we never really talked seriously about the future. So we didn't really plan for the future at all. So it was one of those things where things fizzled out slowly and gradually.
So did you pick that girlfriend, or did your family pick that girlfriend?
No,
we get into the arranged marriage part. Like,
right, the family the family doesn't pick you a girlfriend, air quotes, you know.
Oh, okay.
Family picks you a wife.
Oh, so you're allowed to pick your own girlfriend, but not your own wife.
No, I mean, you're not allowed to do that either.
Oh, okay. You were a rebel and you did that anyway.
I was one of those kids who wanted to try everything, you know. So,
Gotcha.
and I mean, it's also not really purely intentional. She was my colleague when we were working in the same company, and we hit it off from day one. It's one of those things, and we started hanging out and hanging out more and more, and suddenly we realized that we not just attracted, but we were also emotionally a little attached to each other. So so that was the deal. I mean, we never really said you're my girlfriend, I'm your boyfriend kind of thing. This is like back in 2004, 2005. So and I came from a very small rural area of India. Even though I studied most of my schooling I done in bigger cities, I was never really exposed to the dating culture. So there was never really like a dating thing. Um, but we both were independent and away from homes, so so we could hang out as much as we wanted back then, and also did work together. So there was kind of a easy transitioning into being a coworker to being a boyfriend girlfriend, if you will.
So you said you weren't exposed to dating culture in your small town. So does that mean that nobody really, like in high school or whatever, like people didn't have girlfriends?
Yeah, I mean, unlike high schools here in the Western countries, you don't normally see people, I mean, boys and girls hanging out together all the time like a boyfriend girlfriend. They do hang out, but mostly like friends. There is not much of there are no crushes, there is no sexual tension kind of thing, because school beats you out of it. Beats out of your system.
Possible not to have any crushes.
Beats out of your system in a way, saying, you know, like most of the times when I was growing up, I don't know if they're still doing it there in schools, because it's been 15 years since I've been to a school in India. But back when I was growing up, we used to say a pledge every morning. Like when you start the school session, you always form in a line, like a big assembly, and the school leader, student leader, will get onto the stage behind a mic and say a pledge that all the other students and kids will repeat after. And I was the school leader. And so and the very first line or a sentence in that pledge is all Indians are my brothers and sisters. So you can't really do much from there.
Was that like the national pledge or something?
It is a national pledge, and that most schools followed back then. I don't know if they're still doing it, but so the culture is like that, you know, like you don't really do I mean, you don't really sneak out or sneak away or hang out with just one person. It's always like a group of boys and group of girls chit-chatting and talking about school or having fun in general, but nothing romantically involved.
That's really fascinating. Is that just like a cultural thing in India, or was that particular to your small town, or is that a religious?
I think it's regional. So if you go into bigger cities like Bombay and like Indian capital Delhi or any of the cosmopolitan cities, there the kids are exposed to well, for lack of better examples, like star movies or MTV kind of media, right? So there you have a lot more thought process in the idea of dating or in the idea of hanging out with a girlfriend or your boyfriend. Coming from a countryside or in more of a cultural environment that I was brought up in, you don't normally see that. Even in schools, there is a segregation between boys and girls. If you're in the same, if you're if you are from the same classroom, right? Let's say like you have 30 people in the class, 30 kids in a classroom, and there are 14 or 15 of them are boys and 15 of them are girls. All those 15 girls are seated separately from boys. So there is a huge a hallway, if you will, within the classroom, like an aisle, right? There is a huge
Wow.
aisle in between the chairs. So you know which part of the classroom is for girls and which part of the classroom is for boys. And teachers are also used to be like, at least used to be strict back in schools, in middle school and high schools, where you're not allowed to move away from your seat and go sit by a girl.
Is that because like arranged marriage is sort of the expected, and so you really
It's not just that. I
sort of
think
get to know each other and
it's not. I think it's not just that. I think the idea stems from that students in school students at least need to be focused on education rather than these shenanigans, if you will.
right.
You know, that's the reason why I said the system beats it out of you, the way the system
Right.
has been in place, you know. So even though there were crushes and there were obvious attractions, physical attractions towards a girl or towards a boy, you don't necessarily show it
because it's just not allowed, really. You just keep it.
It's just not done. That's it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I mean, so if you're really attracted to each other, you don't display it, if you know what I'm saying.
okay.
Right?
Did anyone have secret boyfriends or girlfriends, or was that just not allowed?
I mean, there are a few, but it's not boyfriend, girlfriend. It's more of a fling, if you will.
Okay.
Right?
So was
there are like that, but there are very hidden away, like behind the doors. You know, you don't really see those.
Okay. So was everybody that you grew up with in your small town, were they expected to have an arranged marriage later in life?
Oh yeah, definitely yes.
Okay, so that could be maybe part of the reason nobody.
I think it's, like I said, it's the cultural upbringing. You know, like from the very beginning, as a baby, you go to these weddings and such, and you're always going to these arranged weddings.
Right.
So there is nothing like, you know, there is no thinking or a thought process that you can find your own person, or you can like someone that you can marry, you know.
So it's
because
normal.
you're constant.
Yeah.
Right, because you're constantly thinking of your society, your parents, and people that are surrounding you all the time. It's a big hassle. Like, let's say, like, you know, I do like someone, right? And it's not just enough liking someone. I need to go talk to my folks and convince them that this is a good pair, right? Good pairing or a good partner. And she has to do the same thing with her folks too. And at a certain level, it becomes a prestigious issue, where if the entire family or generations are known for arranged marriages, liking someone and wanting to marry a person that you chose will now become a rebellious act, you know. And so that comes with a lot of responsibilities and lot of arguments and a lot of hassles to convince these many people, that you get tired after a few of those things that you have witnessed, and you would be like, you know what, I would be better off doing this rather than going through this emotional turmoil. No?
So is it almost disrespectful to parents to try to choose your own spouse, or
in a way, yes.
Okay.
In a way, yes. But people are coming. People are changing. Society has been on a better stand over the past 15 years, and there you see a lot more love marriages rather than arranged ones. Even though that the ratio of arranged to love is still the gap is humongous still, but you do see more often now than it used to be.
So what does it mean in a negative way to parents if the children choose their own spouses? Is it just like saying to them, I don't trust your judgment, or I don't respect your choices? Like, what kind of inherent message are you giving your parents if you're like, no, I like this girl or boy and I don't want an arranged marriage?
So I think the struggle right now is, or it always been, is like in the Western world, almost everyone, I think it stems from the religious foundations too, right? All Western world, almost everyone is a Christian, right? It doesn't matter what, I mean, there are so many denominations, but the overbearing thing is Christianity.
Right.
But when you go to India, there are so many religions and so many castes and so many denominations within those caste systems. And so historically, it's rare to see a person from one caste marrying out of their caste or out of their religion, right? So when you are when you want to find your own partner, you can't really I mean, you can't really tell who you like and who you will love, because you can't really you can't really love someone basing off of your religion and caste, right? I mean,
right.
find a girl that you're attracted to or that you really like, her personality and all that at the very beginning, and then you start thinking, okay, what family do they come from, what religion do they follow, and what subcaste system they're from. And if it doesn't really correlate with your faith, the marriage will not happen, because the folks won't agree to that union.
So it's primarily the parents who do the choosing. Can you suggest?
Let's say elders rather than parents, because it's not
okay.
just the parents anymore. Like I said, it's a society, right?
Oh, okay.
I mean, when it comes to parents, they want to save their face,
right
among the elders. So they need to make sure that whoever they're bringing into the family should have the same traditions, or should have the same lineage, or same sect or same caste, or whatever you want to call it.
So what are some of the consequences if somebody does not go with the arranged marriage? Like, does it destroy families, or what have you seen happen if somebody hasn't done that?
People got killed.
Oh my. Oh, I wasn't expecting that. Jeez.
People got killed. People got upset. Parents distanced themselves from their children.
Wow.
because they married someone that they chose, right?
Wow.
And there are a few parents who got convinced, who said, screw it, we only live once, so we might as well make sure that these guys are happy. So you have that whole spectrum.
Wow.
People who take revenge, people who ostracize the entire clan, and people who don't give a beep, if you will. and say as long as you're happy, we are happy.
What?
But like I said, for those kind of families, it takes a lot of convincing. It takes a lot of convincing. It takes a lot of crying. It takes a lot of arguments to show them why you think this is the right fit for you.
It sounds exhausting. It almost seems like it's better to not do that and just kind of go with the arrangement.
No, it is. It is a little bit exhausting. But like I said, it's changing. The environment is changing a little. Parents' ideologies, not just ideologies, but thought process is changing a little. And there is a lot more exposure to books and media and all that, where the people are realizing that it is okay, if you get married to someone who is not from your religion or from your faith or from your ideology,
Mhm.
it is all right as long as they're happy. We are okay. But you still see a lot of people that still fight over it.
Yeah,
That still kill or get killed.
that's crazy. I just can't believe that. Wow. Well, that is all so fascinating. And unfortunately, we are running out of time. And we haven't even gotten into your story yet about your arranged marriage, which I'd love to hear. And I'm sure our audience would love to.
Maybe we'll do episode 2.
Yeah, I was just going to say, maybe you could come back and we can go into that. How does that sound?
The saga, the Indian marriage saga, you know?
So will you come back again and tell us your story sometime?
Sure.
Great. Awesome. Well, gosh, this 20 minutes just flew by. So thank you so
I mean, you've opened up a Pandora's box that doesn't have a bottom. No, that doesn't have a bottom. So
well, it's fascinating. So I'm sure our listeners are just as fascinated as I am.
yeah.
Well, thank you again so much for being on. I really appreciate it. And I'm sure our audience, learned a lot from you, because we as human beings kind of tend to get sheltered in our own little experience. And so
Yeah.
fascinating for us all to learn about other people's cultures and religions and, just traditions around dating and relationships and marriage and, compare it to our own. So with that said, thank you again.
I think you could do an entire season on just this.
Well, maybe we will. You'll be my recurring guest host. How's that?
All right. Thank you so much for letting me be a part of this again.
Of course. And thank you so much for everybody out there listening. Please come back to our next episode. And until then, we will talk to you later.
All right. Bye-bye.